Ron, where are you? Where is Ron right now? You done messed up, Ron!
Oh, shoot. All right. We are live and we are cozy. Get on in here. Get on in here. We're sharing a mic, y'all. Ron is here with MMR. No, that doesn't work. Okay. Mark.
Just Mark.
MR. No, there's no way
Mark.
to do it.
It's Mark with a C.
Marky Mark.
Marky Mark.
Marky Mark. That's what it is. Marky Mark. Okay, y'all. We're going on a tour, a live tour of Scientology's secret international management base. Now, well, for those of you who don't know, this is Marc Headley, author of Blown for Good, one of the most exciting books about escaping from Scientology's international management base. How long ago did you write that book now?
I wrote that book in November of 2009. So,
November of 2009. I don't do math. I grew up in a cult. I can't figure it out. What is that? 19?
That's
13 years?
Yeah.
13 years. And you escaped on a motorcycle, right?
I did, with the help of law enforcement.
And then Scientology ran you off the road and you got a police escort to where?
To U-Haul in Hemet. Well, U-Haul in San Jacinto, which is right next to Hemet, which is also right next to the Ant base.
And you went back with a U-Haul to get your stuff?
I did, actually. I think it was a Ryder truck, actually, that I went back with.
Okay.
But I was definitely frequenting the moving van services in that area.
All right. By the way, I will pay attention to the chat and we'll try to answer questions. Apologies for the last two live streams I did. I totally forgot to look at the chat. Okay. So here, when we talk about doing a live tour of the base, boom.
Here we go.
We are going to tell you, Mark's going to tell you some stories. We're going to show you. This is Scientology's secretive international management base where David Miscavige, well, if you had to pick a primary residence of David Miscavige, this property would have to be it, right? I mean, other than the fact that you hear he doesn't spend much time there, but if you had to pick, like in the real world, a primary residence.
This is the nicest of all of them.
Right. And now that he's kicked most of the people out of there, you'd think it's where he would want to spend the most time.
Also, he has all his toys
here. I'm going to give you the mouse.
He has all his vehicles here. This is where all his stuff is. This is where his $50 million office building is.
Show us the Miscavige's office building.
So when we were there, this was either referred to as the RTC building or Building 50. That's the actual name. There's a master plan for the entire property, and this is building number 50 on that plan. And this is this little terrace that he has. I don't know if you can see that right here where I'm shaking the mouse. This is like a little terrace he has here. But there was, in this building, there was maybe, I'd say maybe 15 people that worked in this building, maybe maximum of 20. This is all storage units. This white structure here, this is storage units of all of the vehicles and all the stuff that he has was going into this little parking kind of structure thing. It's like, you know, when you live in an apartment building and they have those little tiny garages that are kind of in where your apartment building is. It's like kind of like covered parking, but with a door.
Okay. So it, but with a door.
Yeah. So you can have a vehicle in each one of the little slots.
So like his motorcycles, is that what
exactly?
They would be?
Motorcycles, his Mazda, his Range Rover, his BMW 7, all the different vehicles that he has are in there.
What about the vehicles that Tom Cruise has on the property?
I don't ever. I mean, if Tom Cruise had vehicles on the property, it's because they were being worked on or they're being painted. Or something.
They were only there so that they could and then deliver them to him.
Exactly. So this is building 50. So that's the RTC building right here.
Here, real quick.
Yeah.
Sorry. Shit, I just stole your mouse.
Yeah, it's okay.
I just saw a chat and I don't want to commit the crime of ignoring it.
Okay.
I cannot express how much love I love Ron's channel and Blown for Good. Happy New Year. And Mark, please tell Claire the same for me. You both are SP awesome and saving so many people from a cult. Thank you, Cheryl.
Nice.
Much appreciated. And Mark's channel on YouTube is Blown for Good. So you guys can check that out. Okay, go. Mouse back over to you.
Okay. So this is building 50 right here. This building with the little white thing above it. And if you go right next door, that is what's called Bonnie View. And you can see this is
Zoom in on that.
Well, I know, but I'm just wanted for a second. I want to show this is L. Ron Hubbard's mansion, and look at Dave's mansion.
Dave's got to build himself a bigger house than L. Ron.
Dave's office is twice as big as L. Ron Hubbard's mansion.
Now, tell me though, is that office built like with office in mind, or is it more residence than office, or is it more office than residence?
He has a shower in his office, and he has a little bed, and he could live there if he wanted to.
But it's not intended to be like his house on the base.
No, it's
okay.
not.
All right. Okay. First of all, why is this thing called Bonnie View?
It's actually was called Bonnie View or Beautiful View. It's at the very, very top of the property.
Oh, because Bonnie means beautiful, doesn't it?
It's the top of the property. It has the best view in the entire valley. This property right here, you can see not only the whole property, but you can see the whole valley of the whole San Jacinto Valley is its view.
So L. Ron Hubbard died in 1986. When did they build him this giant mansion?
I think this mansion was finished around the 2000s. I want to say like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Why did they build a mansion for a dead man?
Because L. Ron Hubbard wrote to somebody at the M base and said, "I'm coming back on this day," and that day was in 2007, which was 21 years after his death.
Wow.
So I'm pretty sure David Miscavige was like, well, I think I'm going to err on the side of making that thing. Either way, then at least the people who really do believe he's coming back will also believe that Dave thinks he's coming back.
Well, it's funny because people ask all the time, does David Miscavige really believe in Scientology? And there's a few different ways to think about that. But one of the ways I think about it is if he believed L. Ron Hubbard was coming back, that sort of implies he at least bought into some of L. Ron Hubbard's BS. Why in the world would he build a giant mansion for L. Ron Hubbard if he didn't actually believe he might come back in 2007? Now, someone might go, oh, well, he built it for himself. But what is that property used for?
Dave Miscavige and Tom Cruise. That's the only two people
they have oily sleepovers there, or what are they doing?
Yeah, the only people that I know have ever slept in this compound are David Miscavige and Tom Cruise. Those are the only people that I know who have stayed, and I'm pretty sure that they stayed in the guest house of this house, like Bonnie View or Beautiful View.
Where?
Or BV.
Where's their guest house?
I'm not exactly sure. I think it might be. I think this is the garage and the laundry thing.
Here, zoom in a little closer.
This is a pool house here.
Is there a pool?
Yeah. There's a giant indoor pool.
Oh,
I can't remember. I've only been through the house one time.
Wow.
I got a special tour specifically from the lady who was in charge of the house, which is Annie Tidman. She was the commanding officer, CMO Gold, and that's the CMO base that's at the end base. And David Miscavige said, "Give Marc a tour," and that was like a special treat. Like I was the second person in Golden Era Productions to ever go in this house.
So the people who work on this base are not allowed to go into that house.
Oh no, this is like would be like going into the Pope's bedroom. Nobody at the Vatican's going and hanging out in the Pope's bedroom.
But you're saying even Miscavige does not sleep in that house? To the best of your knowledge.
Other people that were there after me would know that better because when I left, the only knowledge I had of people sleeping in this house right here were Tom Cruise or David Miscavige, and even then, I heard they stayed in the guest house.
I got it. Okay, when Tom Cruise was auditing you, when you were working at this base, show the viewers here what part of this base, what building was he auditing you in?
Sure. Okay, so this right here, let's see where we are. Okay, so this building right here is what was
zoom in on that a little more.
Was called the Hole.
That's where the hole was?
This is the building that had the hole in it.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And this building, let's see where I'm just trying to, it's a little rough to do it from the air. Okay, good. Perfect. So this is the entrance to the hole right over here.
On the north side?
Hold on. I'm trying to see where we are. Okay. Yeah. So here's so this building is the hole, and this building is called the L. Ron Hubbard Music Studio. So right where I'm in the middle of the screen, this is the L. Ron Hubbard Music Studio. And this area right here is where you would drive in, and then the music studio is in here. And right here, there's a conference room, right where the mouse is in the very center of the screen. That conference room has like Knights of the Round Table, like suits of armor. And that is the conference room where Tom Cruise audited me.
Now, is that where people would normally get auditing, or was it just a special
No.
space set up for Tom and you?
It was 100% set up just as a private kind of off. It's on the very, very far edge of the property. And that's kind of like an off of the beat, nice place. It's the nicest place that's not like in the hub of everything else. If you go right here, this right here.
Yeah, what's the purple building?
This is where all of the auditing, all of the counseling.
That's Qual Gold?
That's Qual Gold. This building is where the auditing happens, and this building right here is all the course rooms. Like this used to be the Key to Life and Life Orientation course, this side of the building.
Yeah.
This is the library and the course admin, and then this side over here is the and I'll put it in the middle here. This side right here is where you do all the other courses, like your auditing courses or your car school or your management courses. So you want to take over and see if there's anybody that's got any questions?
Let me jump over and get this chatty chat. Keep up the great work. Your podcast is always a highlight of the day. Aaron, when you address Whitney, please consider the Werther effect, either via disclaimer, written or orally. Well, I will have to look up the Werther effect, Fabian, and I will take that into consideration. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mark, I see something here on the map that's reminding me.
Yeah.
If someone searches like David Miscavige Sea Organization, sometimes they will find a photo of Miscavige in his full dress blues with like 30 or 40 other staff standing behind him. And it looks like they're standing on the deck of a ship.
Yeah.
Is that next to that swimming pool, the fake ship? Like, zoom in on that. What in the heck is going on there?
Yeah. So this is called the Star of California. And this is a clipper ship that has been built in the middle of the California desert. And this is sort of like, it's kind of like a place where public would come to the property. Like if the Golden Era wanted to put on like a fundraiser or some kind of charity event, they could invite people to this thing. And it's kind of like a destination event thing. And this swimming pool was here when they bought the property. And so basically what they did is they just made this so it would have some kind of like sea theme to it.
So they built a replica of a ship just kind of for decoration, really.
Yeah, this is basically just a big deck. And when they have like every year, there's an event called Sea Org Day. And sometimes we get like a day off on Sea Org Day. And then they'd set up ping pong tables or
so it can be okay.
And then people were allowed to swim in the pool on that day. Yeah. If it wasn't Sea Org Day, you weren't getting in this pool. The only other time I saw people get into this pool is when they were thrown in, because the lake there's a Sea Org tradition called overboard.
Yeah.
If you do something bad, you get thrown in the lake.
Right.
Well, the lake had like dead animals and it was like rotten. So they had to stop throwing people in the lake. So they had to throw them in the pool. I saw a big gal walk all the way down to the edge of this diving board, and the diving board was in the water by the time she got to the end.
Oh my God.
Okay. So I'm just going to show you where the lake was. There's the lake. That's where you'd get thrown in. So you'd walk out to the middle of this island, and then they would just
zoom in on that island. I want to see.
Just push you into the lake.
Is that an actual bridge that goes to the island?
Yeah. It's like a stone veneer, like a little pathway that goes out to here. And so then you'd walk out here and it'd be like they would do like a ritual. They would do a ritual.
Your sins to the sea or whatever.
Commit your sins to the deep, and then they push you in
your uniform.
Yeah, in full uniform,
shoes and everything.
Yeah, it was a major pain in the ass.
Okay, hold on. I see a couple chats. Let's just
okay.
All right, let's see. Any updates on the possibility of a second book, as mentioned in Blown for Good? I love to read.
Yeah, we're doing it on the YouTube channel right now.
yeah. So the YouTube channel is a video version of book number 2.
Yeah.
Okay, we got another one here. Wow, Rick, thank you for that. This is great. Mark, can you show us where security chased y'all around and made you sleep in the tents? Oh, hell yes.
Yeah.
Do that.
Okay, so there is a chapter in my book where
take it back here.
Okay, there's a chapter in my book where we were doing some filming, the film unit, and we got in trouble because we didn't film exactly the way L. Ron Hubbard had instructed the shots that we were filming to film. And we were made to sleep outside in basically in the grass, and they turned the sprinklers on in the middle of the night while we were sleeping out there. And so basically we were taken over into this area right here. So if you zoom out a little bit, so here's where our film studio was that we had at the property was right here.
So that's sometimes you'll hear people refer to the Cine Castle. That's
The Cine Castle. Yeah.
Okay.
So Cine stands for cinematography. That's the division. The cinematography division is the unit that films, that pre-produces, shoot production, post-production, and does all of the work for Scientology's internal films. Well, at the time of this incident where we had to sleep outside in these tents and everything, this studio was not yet completed on being built. So we had to shoot at an Air Force base out in, it's called the Inland Empire out in, it was called the Norton Air Force Base. And it was a decommissioned Air Force base that had a giant building, which was bomb proof. And that's where they were going to like push the button to like launch nukes from. And they turned it into a studio. Okay. So, but when we were there, we slept in this area here out in the grass.
Zoom in on that, because I hear I hear about people sleeping on the golf course, but I don't see anything that looks like a golf course.
Yeah. So this is on the property. There is not a golf course, but if you zoom out, there is a golf course. This whole area right here is the Golden Era Productions golf course.
And what is it used for?
It's a public course.
Anybody can golf there.
It used to be. Now I think it's closed, but it used to be a public golf course that anybody could golf at.
Wow.
And there would, and also that's where all of the houses for RTC were along this area here.
Really?
So these all used to be houses here.
That's what got bulldozed?
Yes, those were all. Now you can see there's nothing there.
Wow.
They literally, there was a road. The road is still there on the map.
Yeah.
But all this was all, and this is where Claire and I used to live.
Well, I was going to ask you, show us where David Miscavige lives. Is that where he used to live?
No, he never lived at Sublet.
Oh, okay.
Let's go back to where he lived. He lived what's called these units up here were called the villas.
Zoom in a little bit because it looks like rock. Is that
those are roofs?
Oh, is that
so
like
they're built? They planted trees, as many trees around these as possible, so you cannot see these from the ground in any direction.
Is that slate
from
roof?
Up here? No, it's like it's this blue tile. It's supposed to match like a Scottish motif.
Oh, okay.
But it's like a blue. I don't think it's slate, but it's a flat blue composite material.
So those are Miscavige's.
Yeah. So there's three villas. There's a lower villa, the middle villa, and the upper villa. This is the top villa. And this one has, you can see like there's a really nice lawn up here. And all this is a giant little mini golf course.
Oh, yeah. It's gorgeous, actually.
This whole area is like really nice, like putting greens and like little places to chill with fountains and little gardens and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So this is the upper villa is Dave's office.
Okay.
And all of this used to be, all of the COB offices were here before Building 50 was built.
Oh.
This was where all of RTC was located, in these three places. So the lower villa was actually, I want to say the lower villa was like offices and people worked there. The middle villa had apartments. Like that's where Marc Yeager, Dave Miscavige, Guillaume, they all lived in the middle villa in little like bungalows.
Oh.
And then this upper villa was Dave's offices and like Dave's nice stuff up here. There, I think the officers' lounge might be in the middle villa as well.
Interesting. So when you hear about Miscavige like chilling out, relaxing, playing video games, is that in his villa, or does he have a special?
It would be in the it would be either in the officer's lounge.
Oh, okay.
There's not a lot. Like I went into his bedroom, I think one time in the 15 years I was there,
right,
to like fix something, but it was mostly his AV stuff was in the like lounges or offices and stuff. Like that's where he had that kind of stuff.
Okay, so let's make sure that I didn't get you off track on this question.
Oh, okay.
Well, hold on, I'm going to make sure I don't forget the parts of the question. Where security chased you around and made you sleep in the tents. Okay.
Yeah. When we did that, so at first they had us sleeping in this area over here.
Zoom in on that a bit.
It's just basically empty nothingness, and no one ever goes here. The only time you would go in this area is if you were going from the Cine Castle and you were driving over to this manufacturing building over here, or you were going from lunch or something and you wanted to go. This is where the main dining hall was, right in the middle of the screen here. That's where. So the only time you'd go here is if you had a vehicle or a motorcycle and you were driving from this way.
I got it.
You might drive over here. So, but at nighttime you would never be here. So we were out basically in the middle of nowhere out here. And then after one night of sleeping out here, we moved over to what was called OGH, Old Gilman House. Now, Old Gilman House used to be right here, and they bulldozed all this too.
Is that where the RPF was?
There was never really.
I mean, I don't want to get you on a sidetrack. Is that
the RPF was in this place when it was here? This is called the garage.
Oh, okay.
The RPF. There was not many years when I was there from 1990 to 2005 where the RPF was at the property.
What was Old Gilman House used for? Because I do hear that a lot in the stories from people.
Old Gilman House was used for isolation. So if you got sick, you'd go to OGH.
What if somebody was seriously under watch, like they were being put under watch? Might they be sent out there?
Then they'd also live in OGH.
I got it.
So because OGH is where security slept.
Oh.
So the people that were sick and security, they all lived in this house together.
Interesting.
And it was basically like it was like an old farmhouse, but every single room was turned into a bedroom.
Wow. Okay, so where did security chase you when you were escaping from the base?
That's a totally different thing. In this story, security were just driving around at night. It was just along these roads and
I see.
Along this area. They were just saying, "Run, keep running, keep running." It was just all around these paths. And stuff like that.
Okay.
And then finally, they were like, "Okay, you guys are going to sleep here."
So when you escaped on your motorcycle,
when I escaped on my motorcycle, I was right. I actually have pictures of it. I don't have it here, but our house is like down here somewhere. And there was a house next door to me, and the guy that lived next door to me, they thought he was going to blow, so they were parked outside of his house 24/7, and then I drove out of my house to escape, and they were like, "Oh, well, this guy's not blown, but the guy next to him is." So as soon as I drove out onto this sublet road here, they were following me right away, and they followed me. I'll just show you real quick. They followed me down here, and then I went onto the highway on Gilman Springs Road, which is also called Highway 79, California Highway 79. And they chased me all the way down this road. So the property ends right there. They chased me all the way to here, and right along here is where they ran me off the road.
Because that's like near another residential community.
Well, we were just about to get to this whole area here where there's a college and there's a housing development here.
Yeah.
And so right along here somewhere, they ran me off the road, and somebody who was driving this way down the road going towards the property called the police and said, "Hey, there's a bunch of people fighting on the side of the highway."
Wow.
And they heard the call go out. And so as soon as they heard the call go out on the police band, then they drove back to the property. So when the police got to me, I was by myself. There was nobody with me anymore.
Oh, so you're saying that the base security staff are monitoring the police radio band?
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Wow.
They have it in the base and they have it in their SUV. They have police radio, so they can hear all the police traffic.
So you and others have said that forever, Miscavige has been trying to figure out how to get the highway that runs through the base closed down and turned into a private road. Like we've seen video of like a news camera crew showing up on a road and Scientology saying, "This is private property. This is private property." And they're like, "This is a public street."
Yeah. So,
which is that?
Well, that is Sublet Road right here. So
this Sublet Road.
Yeah. So this road, and this is kind of crazy. So there's only two entrances in and out. So right here, there's a little
in and out of
turn
what?
off.
In and out of what?
Off the highway. So you go on the highway, you could turn into this from here.
And that's public.
It's public, but they put stanchions. They built stanchions and put them right in the middle of the road.
Wow.
And it's set, and they put a chain over it saying private road, even though it's a public road.
But if the only property there is Scientology property, why in the world is that a public road?
Well, but that's the thing. There was like, let's say there was 15 houses along here.
Oh.
For the longest time, some of these people wouldn't buy them.
Oh, they were non-Scientologists that still owned some of it.
Oh yeah, no. That when I first got there in 1990, there was like 2 of these houses were Scientology owned.
Oh.
And all the rest were owned by 9 non-Scientology people that just lived at this place next to a golf course.
Wow.
And this golf course didn't used to be Golden Arrows. When they bought the property, the golf course was there. This okay.
So they've been
I'm
snapping
about
up
to
more and
blow
more
your
programs.
mind right
Go
now.
ahead, go ahead.
The
What?
TR's film that takes place on a golf course that
That's
L. Ron Hubbard
that?
shot. It's
Yeah.
this golf course.
Wow.
After they did this shoot, they were like, we need to buy that place. Or it was either they bought it and they used it, or they used it and then somebody said we should buy that place.
Okay, so now that Scientology's purchased all of the land on Sublet Road and bulldozed the roads, it seems like probably only a matter of time before they get that ruled a private.
Well, yeah, but
property.
now it doesn't matter because there's nothing there. So no one cares to drive on it. Like, well, the reason
I would drive on it just to mess with them.
I know, but the reason that Louis Theroux was in that place is I was in the car when all that was happening, and we were going to my old house.
Oh.
And I'm not in any of that footage because I was like, I'm just gonna sit in the car in this one because the time I had been there before that, a Danish film crew was with me, and they all came out and were screaming and yelling and on the highway. The Scientology people
Louis didn't ask you to get out of the car?
No, because it was already like DEFCON 1.
Wow.
And I hadn't even gotten out. He was like, we're good right now.
Oh,
like,
geez.
this is usable. If you get out, it might go.
I could see you
turn.
busting out of the car and be like, I'm here, bitches.
I'll put up some videos on a channel. I'll show the Danish film crew video footage. But I have pictures of all, like when he's fighting with Catherine and she's like, no, you put your camera down and then I'll tell my guy to put his camera down. And Louis like, no, you put your camera down and then I'll tell my guy to put his camera down. I'm in the car taking pictures while all that's happening.
Holy cow. So, but like for the First Amendment auditors who might want to go and record video at the base, you're saying that to the best of your knowledge, Sublet Road is still legally a public road.
Yeah. And even when Louis Theroux went there to shoot, they had a permit to shoot on this road.
Yeah.
The county gave them a permit to shoot on that road because it is a public road.
Incredible. So look, you've told a story of Marc Yeager, who's one of the most senior Scientology managers in Scientology, that they made him live in a tent on the golf course for, I don't remember what you said.
It was in the swamp.
Weeks. Oh, in the swamp.
So this area where, OGH, so there used to be a house somewhere around here.
Okay.
Let's say it was probably like right here.
All right.
Okay. And there was actually a couple structures out here. There was a house and there was another house over here called the maintenance man house. And anyway, this whole area right here is a swamp. So this is literally like,
doesn't look swampy.
1,000 frogs and just noises. This is all swampland here.
Oh, I see.
Okay. And Marc Yeager used to have a bunch, like a container right here, a shipping container, and he lived in the shipping container.
In the shipping container.
And there was bamboo fences that were all around this area.
Yeah.
And he made those bamboo from the swamp bamboo for like months and months and months. He literally chopped down bamboo.
He became Survivor Man out there.
Used the bamboo to weave the bamboo sticks together, and he made a fence. Like, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of linear feet of fence.
Why did Miscavige send Marc Yeager out to live in a shipping container in the swamp?
Because he was convinced, and we actually got a briefing. It was like a several hour long briefing from Marty Rathbun at the headquarters that since childhood, Marc Yeager's mission was to ruin David Miscavige's life.
Oh my God.
And that there was several occasions where he had tried to like sabotage projects that Dave was in charge from when they were kids in Clearwater.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was literally like, it was basically like if you were in high school and you made a note of every single time your friend like did something against you.
Yeah.
And then when you got like into your 50s, you made somebody else read every single thing that he ever did.
Okay, so when David Miscavige built like a field of corn for Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman to run, or wildflowers, or whatever the hell, what was going on, and where was that?
That is down here. So this is called the G units.
Okay.
I'll zoom out so you can kind of get oriented again. So this is that main security booth right here where I'm wiggling the mouse. This is David Miscavige's building here called Building 50. And then over here, these are all birthing buildings. This is where all of the people on the property got moved to so that they would all be here on the base and not outside of the base in apartment buildings or down on Sublet Road. And then right here on the far, far end of the property is what's called the G units.
Zoom in a bit more because that might be hard to see.
These are luxury bungalows And each one of these is where professionals would stay if they came to the property. So there was one guy that would always come to direct the films. And I think his G unit was this G unit.
So
right
help me
here.
understand. Like, so if I'm looking at one of those structures, am I looking at what is essentially a single family home, or is there like 4 apartments in there?
No, it's like 2 bungalows. So like this.
I don't know what a bungalow is.
It's like a bedroom with a kitchen and maybe like a little living area, like a 1-bedroom apartment.
Okay.
And so this right here is 2. So
Okay.
this is one entrance here.
I got it.
And then I think this is the other entrance for the other one.
Okay.
And so each one of these is really nice. And I think this one is just like a single unit right here, this one here. But all these other ones are, I think, either 2 or maybe even 3 little places where people can
staff
stay.
actually lived? No, staff didn't live there. Staff lived in that other area.
Like people that we hired to work at the property.
Like a director,
a mixer, a cinematographer, any of those kind of guys, and Tom Cruise.
Okay, so then what's with this field that they built?
Okay, so right here is this, it's just an empty field right here. And so this used to just be, well, it used to look like this right here. And so there was a big project in 1990, to 89 and into 90, to renovate these to make them really, really, really nice, these G units. I know it has nothing to do with the rapper 50 Cent.
50 Cent G unit?
The G units were there before 50 was born.
What does G stand for?
I have no idea.
Probably Gilman.
I think there's a lot of building names, like OGH is Old Gilman House, because the guy who used to own this entire property was called Old Gilman, and that's why it's called Gilman Hot Springs.
I got it.
Because the old man would he had boilers beneath all of the buildings, and he would run steam up into them after the hot springs dried up.
Oh.
So he ran them for many, many years after there were no hot springs. And then finally, when people figured out it was just Old Gilman boiling water, then they were like, we're not gonna go there anymore.
Oh, I get it.
Anyway, so when they renovated that, they kind of planted all this to make it into a nice grassy area. And this is actually a really, really, really nice rose garden.
How far will it let you zoom in there?
That's it.
Okay.
That's all the way right there. So this is a really, really nice rose garden. And these tennis courts were put in for that. And what happened was we finished it probably in about July. It was kind of like, doing final touches and paint touches and furniture and making everything nice. And then there was a massive, massive, massive flood in August of 1990. And in August of 1990, all this water came down the mountain. And if you zoom out, there's this big kind of
watershed or whatever.
This little valley here in the hills right above the property. And it spits out right here. And if you zoom in, you can see it spits out right where these are. And so the mud came down through here, and it literally just washed across this highway. I want to say it was 3 or 4 feet high, the amount of mud. And it just went into all these units, and it flooded all of the crawl spaces of all of these units with mud.
Wow.
And Tom was going to come like in 2 weeks. So we literally were under these houses with little shovels and little buckets getting all the mud out, so that when Tom came, it didn't smell like a, mildewy.
And then did he come?
He did eventually come. I don't think he came as quick as that. And because the whole property, it wasn't just here that got flooded. The entire property got flooded. These just sustained the most damage. But the entire property suffered millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of damage.
And so what's with planting like a field of wildflowers for Tom and Nicole?
Well, that was here. I don't know where that wildflowers thing came from, but they did make a rose garden.
It wasn't in your book?
And they did. No, it wasn't in my book.
Maybe it was in that unauthorized Tom Cruise biography, actually. I think is where
it might have been. Andrew Morton might have written about it. And it was on the internet, definitely before that.
Well, then what about the soccer field that Miscavige had built for David Beckham?
Those are over here. So right here there's some more. These are basketball.
Is that the outline of a soccer field right there?
Yeah, this right here is where the soccer field was.
You can see the goals.
Yeah. Well, this one's kind of cattywampum, but that one should get moved.
That was built just for David Beckham, who never came to the base.
Yeah, well, I think we had a soccer field there before, but they made it like a real
A pro
soccer field. Yeah.
Wow.
And so this was used to be a really nice baseball diamond. I think these are volleyball courts and tennis courts over basketball courts over here. And then this is actually where the running program used to be.
That's where they ran around in a circle.
Yeah. So this used to be, I'm trying to see how you can see. Yeah. So this used to be.
Oh, wait a second. No.
Right
I see it.
Where?
I think it's right here.
No, because it's right. The thing was,
or is that it right there?
Well, it used to be right where
you see the rings.
Yeah, no, but the outbuildings here. There's a building which was right. It actually might be. Let me zoom out a little.
Well, there's a lot of rings actually. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see where everything is so I can see where it was. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, this is where it was.
Mike has a great shot of it from an old Google Images.
Yeah, so it was in this area somewhere. I don't remember where the exact circle was, but you would come down here and you'd park, and then there was a little outbuilding, and that's where once you got tired running, you would go inside the outbuilding and you would rest for a little bit.
Interesting.
But that's where the running program was. Yeah, this is where, let me just see where else we can go to. Yeah, so this is the main dining hall right here. This is called Massacre Canyon Inn, and or MCI, and this is where all of the crew eat. So this is the crew dining over here, and this is executive or officer dining on this side, and then this is all of the kitchen right here, and then this is where the loading dock is, and then this is David Miscavige has like a what's called the billiard room, and he has like a little executive lounge here where there's like satellite TV and billiard tables and whatever, foosball, that kind of stuff. That's all in his little room here, and then there's a canteen that's right here where if you want to get a soda or Snickers or cigarettes, you can buy that in there.
So like, did you guys have base staff meetings every week?
Yeah. So we would have every Friday, we would have staff meeting on this side. So everybody would move all the chairs over from this side and move them over here and take all the tables from this side and stack them over here. And then we'd have all of the organizations on the base would have individual staff meetings for themselves. But like Gold Crew at one point was like 500 staff. So we would barely fit in this side, all jammed in.
So
there.
Gold would meet, CMO would meet, RTC would meet, CSI would meet.
Yeah,
separate.
Not necessarily all here, but Gold would meet here because it was the only place that would hold all of Golden Air Productions. But then this is Qual, that's auditing. This used to be where CMO Int was.
What's with the purple roofs?
I think that these are just newer tiles that they found.
Oh,
and they haven't aged yet to look like all the other ones, or they just got the wrong goddamn colors. Sorry, excuse my language. Anyway, so this right here used to be where CMO Int was, and the auditing, there was no auditing on the property.
Oh.
So there really didn't need to be that many auditing rooms.
Right.
Then there was a big thing that staff would start to get counseling. So they made this whole thing where the auditing was, and then they put these 4 double wide. So these are 2 double wide trailers next to each other.
Zoom in a little closer as much as it'll let you.
And then 2 more. So this is a trailer.
I don't get it. They don't look like trailers.
It's 2 trailers. So this is the seam that's splitting the 2 trailers, and this is the seam that's splitting these 2 trailers.
Oh, but they've basically constructed around them to make a building.
Yeah, they literally got these temporary trailers and made them into a building that is offices. And this is CMO Int and Executive Strata and the whole and all those things are these 2 buildings.
See, I mean, it's a minor point, but as someone who like grew up on staff, right?
Yeah.
The fact that CMO Int and the Exec Strata are located in the 2 shittiest buildings on the base just blows my mind.
Oh yeah, no, it literally are those literally are the shittiest buildings on the property.
It's wild.
See, like all these other spaces, like even this area here, this is a garage.
It looks like a gorgeous building,
but it is really nice inside, and it has showers, and it has like, this is motor pool.
That's a garage?
Yeah, this is one giant. So this is motor pool right here, this area. And this is construction. This whole middle area is like electrical engineering. This is a giant woodworking shop. And then this whole area right down here, which used to be kind of like The planning offices for the base are the planning offices for all of Scientology internationally. This is the INT landlord right here.
Oh, that's the INT landlord office.
Yeah, this area right here is the international landlord. That's where all the ideal orgs get planned and all that. That's
when
where
you see all the digital fly-throughs of new projects planned. Is that done there? That could be done in LA.
They would,
right?
Well, yeah, but they would build the models for those fly-throughs here, but
Oh.
the actual models would get done in this place over here, which is called the SFX. So this area right here, wait, am I in the right place? Yeah. So this is called the gym. And this is the very first studio on the property. And they were not allowed to build a film. They didn't want the city to know that they were building a film studio. So, because then they'd know Scientology was here. They bought this under the Quiet Highlands Quietude Society. Like when they moved to Clearwater and they used an assumed identity and all that, they did the same thing in Gilman Hot Springs. And so they told the city they were going to build a basketball gym here.
Oh God.
And
so that's why they call it the gym?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And so to this day, this building is called the gym, even though it's a studio.
Oh my God.
So this right here, this little tiny sliver of it, this was added. And this is where visual effects is. And this is where they make all the special effects shots for films and videos. And this is where all the event videos used to get all their kind of the cool graphics and all that stuff used to happen here. But that's where they do the fly-through videos.
Show us where the e-meters are made.
Okay, so that is in this building right here. This is called the manufacturing building, or building 36. And there was at one time, I don't remember why, but David Miscavige got really mad that we were calling buildings stupid things.
Like what?
Building 50, building 36, MCI. He just got pissed. And so they surveyed what this building should be called. And I voted it should be called the Marky Mark Expansion Mansion. An adjacent trailer park. Anyway, that was not selected as one of the finalists. And this
Can
ended
you
up
see
being,
that building from the freeway?
Yes, it's giant. It's a 3-story building. And it has on the first floor, it has what's like the administrative offices, like the Hubbard Communications Office, HCO, Treasury, the kind of like
Treasury for what though? The whole base?
for all of Golden Era Productions.
Oh, for gold. Okay. So
Yeah.
HCO gold, Treasury gold.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
and then also the manufacturing of cassettes was on the first floor.
So that's the manufacturing building.
Yes. And then on the second floor was this up here is a raised area. So this is the second floor entrance.
Oh.
So when you drive in from the booth, if you're coming to the property and you're not a Scientologist, you drive in from the booth and you park right here, and then you go in reception. And it's a really glitzy reception and bookstore and cassettes and CDs and kind of like all of the public, the really intro level public Scientology things are all on display there.
Interesting.
And then on the second floor, so that's where this is all like the port captain office, which is like the public relations office and reception. And then this area right here is the executive division. And then you have the FBO here.
So you got like CO Gold over there.
CO Gold is in this corner office right here. And then you have the flag banking, the executive division, the flag banking officer. And then this whole area here is the Hubbard Electrometer Manufacturing, which is HEM, or where they make e-meters. This whole second floor right here. And then over here was systems manufacturing. So where we would make the cassette decks and projectors and all that stuff. And so now, and then the third floor was a giant warehouse where we would keep all the stuff we made
That there was no use for.
that there was no use for, but there was no elevator. So it all had to go up and down carpeted stairs on dollies.
Oh my God.
We're talking, I probably moved not less than 100,000 boxes up and down stairs on dollies. And so this whole third floor got canceled of being storage, and they made this whole entire third floor what was called PDU, or the Planetary Dissemination Unit.
What did they do there?
So they just make magazines, all the magazines that go out from the organizations and all the promotional pieces, all those are made there, and they make them so they can just tailor. It's like McDonald's, like they give them, here's your promo, and then you can customize it. They give them the files and they can customize it for their local area.
Interesting. Okay, so in your book, there's a story of you being restricted to the base for about a year. They wouldn't even let you go home at the end of the night to sleep in your own bed, and you were sleeping in like some walkway. Where was that?
It was at the City Castle. So we had finished by that time. We had finished this City Castle, and this was giant. And so this is this big area here. This is the studio. That is one giant soundstage that has no beams. And I don't know if it's true or not. I made up some facts about this studio that they still use to this day in their promotional pieces. Like I literally just made them up.
Like that is the largest sound studio in North America.
I would do a tour and of the studio. Like I was the professional tour guide for the studio because I was the head of the whole place. And I would say, this is the largest free span soundstage in all of the United States.
And you just made it up.
Which means there's no columns in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100% made that up. and somebody sent me a video that they did of this property.
And
they said that word for word in the thing. And I was like, oh my God, I made that up like 30 years ago. They're still using that.
Okay, so that's where you slept. Why were you on restriction to the base?
Well, because I was getting in trouble with Dave Miscavige quite often.
Yeah.
And so at the very edge of surrounding this studio, there's administrative offices and like cop sets and props and costumes and makeup. And there's a hallway right here that goes along this whole side of the studio. And above that hallway is like just an open space because it's not really any way to use it since it's next to this. And I would sleep above that. I slept above that hallway for like months. I would at least 8 months. So remember.
Even though now zoom out because I want to show.
Yeah,
my
house.
Not like your apartment was in town.
My house.
I thought you were on Sublet Road. That's where we said Claire lived.
Yeah, my house was like right here,
and they wouldn't let you go there.
And because you have to leave the property because there's actually this area right here where the G's are. So there's a gate. Yeah, right here. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You might be able to see it. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So there's a gate that goes all along this part of the property that separates the main base with the golf course.
I see.
And Sublet is just on the other side of that gate. So you would literally, if I didn't have access to my motorcycle, I would just walk down here and walk down the Rose Garden and then walk over here and then go through this gate and then just walk to my house.
But in order to drive to the house, you actually have to get onto Gilman. Is that right? In order to get onto Sublet with a car, you actually have to exit off to Gilman?
With a car, yes. But with a motorcycle, you can just go through that gate and then get onto the road.
Okay.
But, and then for a while, when I first got to the property, so this is the main property here. It's really just where the green is. That's everything that Scientology owns. And the place where we lived.
Oh, you guys really lived off base.
Yeah, we lived, here's Kirby Street. We lived in apartments off of Kirby Street.
The whole base?
Yeah, called Kirby Gardens.
Did Scientology rent or own that?
They rented it. And that was the whole thing was like, well, they rented this Kirby Gardens here. And there was a little liquor store right here. And there was a tire center place here. So if you slept here during I was on the night shift for 3 years. If you slept here during the day, all you heard was air impact wrenches all day long while you're sleeping. Okay. But this was Kirby Gardens. They own these apartments here. And
they owned or rented?
Rented. Sorry. They rented these apartments here, but then they also rented some apartments over here. And so you'd go, this Menlo Street was kind of the connector. And then there was a place called Vista Gardens, and Vista Gardens was right here. And this is another apartment building that they rented almost all of.
So people must have been blowing all the time.
Yeah. So that's a whole nother video. But so you can see, so Vista Gardens is here, Kirby Gardens is here. And then if you zoom out, you can see the property is right here. So it's about a 15-minute ride no matter which one you lived in. If you lived at Kirby, you'd go this way down Sanderson. And if you lived at Vista, the bus would take you this way down.
So they would just shuttle the staff back and forth?
They would shuttle the state. Okay. So, but the thing is that somebody did the math at some point and figured out that if they just got a loan for like $2 million, they could build these birthing buildings and stop paying rent. And in like X amount of years, they'd make their money back.
Right.
Well, that time period was like a 5-year period.
Mhm.
It took 20 years for them to build the building. So they took the loan or however they got the money. They got that to build those buildings, and then they rented those apartments for like 10 more years.
No way.
Yes.
Well, it's funny. Here, zoom out so we can see a little bit more. Okay. It seems to me to be an absolute security nightmare to have a freeway, or I don't know if you can call it a freeway, running through the middle of Scientology's international base.
Well,
has Miscavige tried to get that entire thing shut down?
Yeah, many, many times. They even put what's called a median all the way through here to slow the traffic down. And they basically have done and they've thinned it out. So it gets thin right here, but it gets wide where you need to turn in and out for the property. But they basically, the idea was to put so many impediments and make it so slow to go through here that nobody would want to go through here.
Or the city would want to reroute, or whatever, the county?
Yeah, or just people would stop. You can't close something that people use, but if you could make people stop using it, then you could close it.
But how can Scientology build a median if it's not their road?
Because they paid for it.
Oh, they said, hey, city, if we give you the money, will you build it?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And they got rid of there's no way to walk along here. It's all shrubbery, and they've kind of built it out.
So you can't pull over or anything.
There's really just a little drain area. That's the only kind of walkable space. Like if protesters want it. This all started after people just started coming here and protesting. They're like, we got to figure out a way to do this. The protesters, it's perfectly legal for them to walk along the highway. So they made it dangerous to walk along the highway. So then the police could say, hey, it's dangerous to walk along here.
Well, and then if the protesters are actually on the street, then they can probably, that's probably not legal to be on the street, right?
Not in the highway.
Right.
So there's no real place to park.
So they're making it as inconvenient or impossible.
So you have to park like somewhere way down here and then walk all the way up here, which is
that's so messed up.
Yeah. But the other thing is that really the thing that everybody's going to is right here.
Who's everyone? What do you mean?
The people that are going along this road.
Oh.
There's a thing they're going to, and it's the Saboba Casino. There's a giant casino.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, where's the Indian reservation? Is it a reservation?
Yeah.
There's Indian land.
This whole area here is the Saboba reservation. So this whole area here is the Saboba off-reservation trust land. And then this is where basically all the Saboba Indians live in this little valley right here.
Look, it's tucked in that little valley there.
And this used to be the Int Ranch. So that's
the Int Ranch.
This used to be owned by Scientology. Now this property, this whole thing up here, it's nice now because they made it into like a baseball stadium.
Who's they?
The Indians.
Oh, okay.
But this used to be where the RPF was right here.
Does Scientology still own the land?
No. This used to be owned by the Campbells of Campbell's Soup. And this is where they used to grow tomatoes.
But how'd Scientology have the Int Ranch there if they didn't?
Bought it from the Campbells.
Oh.
And the Campbells were supposed to sell it to the Indians because the Indians got all this land and the Campbells didn't have, their land was not part of the reservation. So it was basically like understood, like, yeah, when you sell it, you'll sell it to us.
So then what happened?
Then Scientology scooped in and bought it. It gave them like way, way too much money, bought the thing. And then so because of that, you would have to drive up this road here. So the Castile Canyon Ranch is what the school was called because this is Castile Canyon.
Right.
But this is where all the Indians live on this road. Okay. And so when the base kids were coming to the school,
they're
from
going
the base
through reservation land.
Yeah, and the Indians would shoot at them. Like the school bus had bullet hole marks in it from the Indians shooting at the kids while they're going to.
Why would they put the kids so far away like that?
Well, because it's a place where kids can be.
You could still tuck them away in some corner of the base.
Oh,
it doesn't make any sense.
100%. But then they'd be at the base.
But hold on, I asked you if they still had the Int Ranch, and you said no. Do you think Scientology still owns that property?
Oh no, they sold it to the Indians.
They sold
for
it
an insane amount of money.
I got it. So, but there's a casino there.
Yeah, and part of selling it to them was that they would agree to not fight the road closure.
Oh.
Like we'd give them the ranch and then they wouldn't fight the road closure. But what I'm trying to show you is that this property right here, this resort, this Saboba Casino Resort is giant. It's like if you
Is that its own golf course there? Is that what I was saying?
Yeah. They have and their golf course is open probably. This golf course is closed. But if you're coming from the 10 freeway, which is up here, this is the 10 freeway.
Okay.
You come down Highway 79.
That's how you get to the resort.
And the quickest way is to go this way.
Right.
To go this way to the resort. Going this way is like an extra 20 minutes.
Oh, interesting.
So no one's going to drive 20 more minutes just because it's a little slow in this one spot.
So didn't the county tell Miscavige that if they wanted them to close that freeway, Scientology would have to pay for the entire construction of a new freeway or something?
Yeah. And I think that's where they finally were like, oh, screw it, we're done. And I think that's actually, so literally when Miscavige was there, and this happened when I was still there. So in the morning, this road is like a freaking super highway.
Okay.
And this is where his bedroom is. So his bedroom is literally like 50 feet.
That's why he wanted it closed.
Yeah, because it's so fucking noisy. And he's like a go to sleep at 4 or 5 in the morning and get up at noon guy.
Yeah.
So basically right when he's going to sleep, traffic's just starting to pick up. And then it just is crazy. It's like it literally, and it's seriously, if one of these big semi, like a double semi or a big semi drives by, oh, you're feeling it right here in this little bedroom right here. Incredible. And these buildings are, these were built in, maybe the 40s, 30s or 40s. They're not new construction. Yeah. So they're old piece of junk houses. Anyway, so he made the people that he basically deemed responsible for shutting down the highway. He made them camp out right here every morning starting at 6 o'clock. They had to stand out there for like months.
I remember.
It was 3 people.
Was
Ken
it
Hoden.
Mike? Wasn't it Mike?
No, I don't think Mike was there. It was a guy named Ken Hoden, a girl named Muriel Dufresne, and I want to say either Steve Willett or a guy named Ken that used to be the estate sec.
Yeah.
And they all had to come out.
Hold on. I got the mouse. Hold on. Oh, go ahead. You need it? Go ahead.
Anyway, no, they would just right where this truck is. They would just sit right by the side of the highway. And Dave Miscavige had ordered them. You have to go sit out there every morning starting at 6 or whatever the time was until you get it closed.
Wow.
And they were out there. We would drive by. We would come by and buses from the crew would come by and they'd already be sitting out there as we were driving into the property every morning. It was incredible. Like, oh, man.
All right, let me get a couple chats here.
Sure.
In We Stand Tall, Miscavige looks like he's concentrating to stay on an Apple box. A fall off that box would probably be a pretty big fall for a keyboard elf. He literally is standing on an Apple box in that video. It's 100%. Not a joke. He actually is.
100%.
Okay, let's see. We've got where were the kids boarding? Oh, we answered that.
Yeah,
nice.
There you go.
Good job. And I know there are some others. That's just, I'll put that there. Okay. I did see an actual comment. It was yellow, and I will keep searching until I get to it. Okay. While I'm searching for this comment, what else are we looking at on screen that has any noteworthy? No, I got the mouse, dude.
Oh, okay. Well, on the screen right now is the manufacturing building. Oh, and the film lab. So that's a good one. We can talk about the film lab. So all
right, hold that thought. Which G unit were Tom and Nicole in? I used to live in the small G unit. So Rusty, do you know a Rusty?
Well, no, but that was 1980.
Sorry, that's when I was born. When were you born? 70 what?
73.
Okay. Oh, geez.
Yeah, I was 7, so I wasn't in the
So remind me, did we show which G unit Tom and Nicole were in? We did, right?
I don't think we did, but I don't even remember which. I'm pretty sure it was just the nicest one, whichever one that one.
Did Gold release Scientology?
Yeah, because singles or 45s. We did cassettes and we did Super 8 films, 16 millimeter films, Super 16 films, and then 35 millimeter films, and now everything's on computers. But we did do cassette singles and we did do cassettes on TDK metal tape.
Okay, good. The mouse is yours.
Okay. So this was the manufacturing building that I talked about.
Yeah.
And this right here is where Tom Cruise lands his helicopter when he comes.
Oh, nice.
So there's like a little windsock somewhere around here. And then this is where he would land. So like when people would say, well, did you know when he came to the property? Well, yeah, my office. So this little walkway right here, my office was right inside here. So when we worked in tapes, my office was here. And then when I was in the executive division, my office was right up here. So if a helicopter's landing here, you're going to know about it for sure.
And I mean, do you have to have prior notice before a helicopter can land there anyway? I mean, I don't
What
know.
do you mean prior notice?
I mean, I don't know. Can a helicopter just pop a squat right there? Or is there someone on the base that needs to be
the
alerted?
security guards would have all the limos and the SUVs and everything all parked right here. So he could, that's why this was the good spot, because he could literally just land right here, get in a car, and then drive to any part of the property.
Wow.
Okay, so this right here, there is a building right here, and this is called the Tavern. It's under these trees in here. And this is like a super, super VIP dining hall. So if we're shooting in the studio here, the director can just walk over here and eat. And then any other pros that are in, a lot of pros would be in this area. This is post-production. This is where all the editing for all the event videos would get done, right here in the center of the screen. And so a lot of pros would be in this area. A lot of professionals that we were hiring that were not Scientologists, or that were Scientologists, but they were professionals in that field. And they would all eat in here. So they wouldn't have to go in with all the crew and eat in here. Because there's a lot. This is all just crew.
So like if Priscilla Presley was coming to the base, she's eating at that tavern.
You'd eat here at the Tavern, or
is it? Are you saying tavern?
Yeah, the Tavern.
Tavern.
Okay, good. Is that not how you say it?
No, you're saying it right now.
Okay, Tavern. Anyway, and then there's also in the place where Tom Cruise is auditing me.
Yeah,
that it's also set up the same way like Knights of the Round Table. That's how the Tavern is set up too. It's like a set up like a Knights of the Round Table.
Interesting.
And so there's even a stone in a sword and a stone in the Tavern.
Really?
Yeah, literally.
Wow.
And so that same type of setup is over here. So if there was a musician or a mixer or a pro that was working in this area, they would eat in this gourmet kind of like luxury room. And that's where Tom would eat in here too, because he was auditing here.
So the Sea Org was never able to recruit a movie director of sufficient caliber that they could actually use him for the project.
Well, they did, but they would. I mean, Dave's not the easiest person to get along with. So there's a lot of, like if you have somebody who's in charge of the film, and then there's another guy who's not involved in the production of the film, but also thinks he's in charge of the film, which is Dave Miscavige, then the guy in charge of the film, he kind of gets mad.
Right.
And that would happen a lot.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Anyway, so I'm trying to think if there's any other. Let's just go real quick. So these are the birthing buildings. Oh, this is another great thing. So when they got rid of the hole, because we made a big fuss about the hole, they made one. I think this building. I'd have to get the person who told me. I don't remember which building they said, but I'm pretty sure this building is where all the hole dwellers moved to.
Oh wow.
So they got to go back to not being in the hole and like sleeping under their desk,
right?
But they all had to be together in the same hole place.
Yeah.
Well, when the property was when these buildings were being built, there was about 1,000 people at the end base that were living in apartments. And they said, what's the maximum amount of staff wherever? Like if everybody on the post, if all the positions were filled, how many people would we need? 1,600. So each of these can hold 400 people. Like there's rooms for 400 people.
Like,
but
humanely, like, excuse me.
Yeah. So like
you actually,
like if you were a couple,
yeah,
you might have 2 people in a room. And if there was a dorm, it might have 4 people in a room.
Right.
Not like 20 people like in the apartment.
You can house 1,600 people in those buildings.
That's right. And now there's less than 400 people on the base because they got rid of everything and they got rid of all the people that work there. And then, so even the whole people might be a few hundred people. They're all in one building.
Yeah.
And then some of these buildings are either empty or people just have a room to themselves kind of thing because there's just so much space.
Well, now since Miscavige is such a freak about the COVID stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if people sort of like have their own rooms.
The last I heard from somebody who I think the very last person that we know of that left said they are cramming people into buildings and leaving the other ones empty instead of putting them in there.
Interesting.
Because that was my immediate thing. Like, well, you have so much room, you just spread them out. They were like, oh, no, there's still 4 people to a dorm room.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to the hole, Mike Render's always said that the hole being the hole was not so much about the location. It was about the experience, the isolation,
Yes.
the abuse.
Yeah, it was just a form of torture.
Yeah, like it could be, people all goes, is the hole still there? Well, the hole could be anywhere. I mean, Miscavige could call the Flag Auditorium the hole and start assigning executives to sleep on the floor. Like it's just about the treatment, really.
Yeah. So let's just whirlwind through these. So those are the birthing buildings. This building right here is the laundry building. So that's where all the laundry machines and the dry cleaning are for the entire property. And that's mostly for RTC. I don't know if the staff would ever get their stuff dry cleaned. They didn't when I was there. We had to send it into town. This is an exercise building. So this is Dave's like workout studio right here.
That's where he scopes the guns.
No.
I'm talking about doing biceps.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, bro.
I don't know workout lingo. Anyway, yeah, this is where he scopes the guns. There's like, treadmills and exercise and TRX and all that stuff's in here. And then there used to be.
Is there a solo flex or a bow flex? That's all I want to know.
I don't know about that. If you
Chuck Norris posters, no, some Sly Stallone posters from Philly,
No, I didn't see any of that. But so this is what Tom would use if he was on the property. He would go in here. And this was really for Dave. This was his building. Like
his private gym. His private gym.
When I was like doing really good, I had temporary access. Like I could go in there and like go on a treadmill for 20 minutes. I was like,
what's killing me here is that one basketball court wasn't enough. There's two.
Well,
what in the hell's going on there?
Well, because what used to happen is they used to say there's actually an L. Ron Hubbard policy that says if you don't exercise, you don't get paid.
Oh.
And so at the end base,
Right.
specifically for the end base. So there were time periods when they would be like, you have to go to exercise or you're not going to get paid. And no one would go to exercise. So they used to, at like 10:30 at night, we would have a muster at the basketball courts. So everybody would have to come down here from the entire property and there'd be like a muster, like, hey, we're going to account for every single person. And then some people would exercise.
Didn't Miscavige actually really like basketball?
Yeah, he broke his leg with Dustin Hoffman.
I was going to say, he broke his ankle playing basketball, right?
It was a short man's team, and he broke his ankle. It was right before the IES 1993 event.
Really?
Yeah, he had a broken leg. When he went to the IRS, he had a broken leg.
Wow.
Okay, so because they would make it so you wouldn't get paid if you didn't go to exercise, people had to go to exercise. But half the people, anybody who was working on stuff that was for Dave, would just walk back to their office and stay till 3 o'clock in the morning anyway. But you just have to come down here for the muster, and then they couldn't say you weren't there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the exercise building. That's the basketball court. This is where the running program or the Cause Resurgence Rundown used to be. This is the lake. That's the island where you get thrown in. This is the gym studio. Oh, this is called F&E, Films and Equipment. So this is where all of LRH's film and equipment is stored and taken care of, and all the developing lab and all that. Now I think it's part of the post-production studio for here. This used to be called the Upper Lodge. So these were the lodges, and this was the upper lodge, and this is the lower lodge. This is where all the post-production for the films and videos and editing bays, online bays, offline bays. Down here, this area right here, this is the lower lodge. This is where like pre-production and research and all that. And then this turned into the International Public Relations Office. So this building here is where IMPR is.
Oh, interesting.
International Public Relations for all of Scientology is in this building right here.
Okay.
This is the dining hall. This is called MCI, Massacre Canyon Inn. This is the garage. We went through that. And then this is the City Castle. And that whole side, all that stuff we've just gone through, that's called the South Side.
Okay.
So everything over here, you just say, like if somebody says, oh, where's blah, blah, blah. Oh, he's over on the South Side somewhere.
Now, why do they call it the South Side?
Because this is the south side of the
totally
property. This is the north side.
Oh, okay. That makes sense now.
Yeah.
I grew up in a cult. I don't know these things.
Okay. So then we have building 50, which is Dave's, the RTC building. And then we have the villas, upper villa, lower, middle, upper villa.
But what's the thing right now to the east of the lower villa, or what is that? Oh, that's an attachment.
This is just this new addition.
Okay.
To Dave's upper villa, little Zen garden. He literally has according to somebody that left, he has like a whole little garden, and that's probably a mechanical building that's just been covered up by stuff.
Okay.
Keep going, and then this is the Star of California Clipper ship. This is what was called Qual, or that used to be called the Spa, because this is the thing where the natural springs used to come up through
underneath.
That old man Gilden turned the basements into boilers. That is what this was the Spa. And so for the longest time, that was what it was called, until Dave got pissy, and because we called all the buildings what they used to be.
Yeah.
So that was the Spa. This was a little like bungalows or little hotel rooms, and that was called Del Sol. So that was always called Del Sol. And now finally, I think it's called either the Qual Building, or this is called the Qual Building, and this is called the Auditing Building, or I don't remember what they called it. This is CMO Int, WDC Exec Strata. Now these also are like audio buildings. So this is the musicians' storage and rehearsal. So those like little scoring rooms in here, and there's a big giant rehearsal room where they can set up and jam and rehearse. This is called Lower RAV, Lower RAV, Ron's Audio Visual. And this is L. Ron Hubbard's mixing studio.
What do they like have it in mothballs for him?
No, this is where, so there's people at the base that are responsible for taking care of all of L. Ron Hubbard's AV stuff, and they're called RAV.
Like his original stuff.
His original recorders, tape recorders, and his original amps and microphones.
Well, why are they maintaining them?
So when he comes back, he's got shit to use from the 50s and the 60s. All that.
They're like, welcome back, Ron. We didn't buy you any new shit, but we saved your old stuff.
All your bleeding edge 1950 shit's all ready for you.
Christ almighty. You know, it'll go in the L. Ron Hubbard Museum when they build it here in Clearwater.
I don't know, because they use those to play back the original recordings he did as part of the recording and remastering.
Yeah, okay.
And producing.
But they've probably worked their way through all that old material by now.
No. That's still what they're doing there.
Oh, Jesus Lord.
So, but they have RAV, and then they have F and E. So all this films and equipment, that's F and E. All his audio equipment is RAV.
Oh, okay.
And so those are messengers. Those are CMO people that run this studio.
Oh,
but Gold use it to work.
Oh,
even though it's LRH's studio.
Interesting.
And that's the same thing with this. This is the L. Ron Hubbard Music Studio. And the people who clean these studios and the people that take care of these studios are CMO, but Gold use them. It's really kind of weird because they're cleaning.
So CMO is actually Gold's cleaners.
Yeah, basically.
That is weird.
It's really weird. Anyway, so this is musician restored, and then these buildings here are called echo chambers, and they have a microphone that spins around in the middle of a building. And it has mercury pools that connect the audio to the microphone while it's spinning. And there's speakers in the room, and it's all calculated so you can set an exact reverb for any hall in the world. You're smiling when I'm telling you this. There's a button you press and you say Shrine Auditorium. And the way that room works, it makes the exact sound of the reverb of the Shrine Auditorium.
For what point though?
When you're mixing something, you can make it sound like you're at the shrine, or you can make it sound like you're at Ruth Eckerd Hall, or you can. So Dave can record a VO to fix his fucked up VO, and it'll match exactly into what was recorded at the shrine or Ruth Eckerd Hall or the Flag Auditorium.
Oh my God!
Hall and
that's incredible.
Yes, it's super.
Is that
super
normal for the industry?
No, it's like super like what the what. We had a guy in acoustician. Paul Veneklausen, was like the grandfather of acoustics. He helped us design those buildings and build those buildings.
Holy cow.
And so those are called the echo chambers. That's just a geeky, stupid audio thing. Okay, then there's a little house here. This actually used to be a dentist office, I think was right here. And that is actually where Roanne lived. When Roanne Horwich lived at the property, she lived in little house.
So
here.
For those watching, Roanne is LRH's granddaughter.
Yeah, and it was called the Horwich House because her dad's last name was Horwich. So her dad lived here, and I think she lived here for a while. And then there used to be some trailers here, and this is where more CMON people would be. But then there's so much space now after getting rid of people. They work here. Okay, then this is an audio building. They have recording and mixing studios here for all the different languages. So they make all of the lectures for L. Ron Hubbard. They mix those and then they record them into like 15 other languages. And then these buildings here, this is where like RTRC and RComps and the translations unit, these are all little offices for those type of people.
So that's where Dan Kuhn would have had done his business when, like, Dan Kuhn was RTRC there for a long time.
Yeah, I think his office was in there. And then this is archive storage right here. So this is a giant building of all of the paper records for the property.
Oh, wow.
And all of Dave's stuff that needs to be like temperature controlled and all that stuff. And there's these like high density.
When you say Dave's
shelves,
stuff, like, what do you mean?
like paperwork and recordings and all his
Dave's, what do you mean?
Like whatever Dave Miscavige's records are, whatever he keeps, that's his shit.
Okay, anything that needs to be preserved is
there's a cage in here for RTC where all their shit is.
I got it.
And this is also when we had this was built right before Y2K because they thought the freaking world was going to end at Y2K. So we had like food and all kinds of stuff in here. And then this is an audio, I think this is called the audio storage building. And this is where all of the masters for all of the recordings are.
Oh, sometimes I'll see some Scientology footage of these giant floor to ceiling shelves on rollers being moved with these things.
Yeah, that's where
that building.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then that's the California. Okay, good. So then over here, this I'm getting a little bit.
We already covered everything.
Well, no. So this is. There used to be
another tennis court.
There used to be a building right here, which I don't see anymore. There used to be CMO used to be right here. So I guess they got rid of that building. This is a studio called Studio One. And this building is another mixing studio. Oh, and you know what? Sorry. It's right here. I think that's
Studio One.
I think, yeah. I can't tell because none of this stuff wasn't there.
Oh,
there's a shooting range. There used to be a shooting range over here.
Where?
In this area somewhere, there was a shooting, or maybe it's up here.
An outdoor range?
Yeah, like an outdoor range.
Okay.
And there used to be, they redid all the roads around here too. But either way, there's a studio up here, which is, they do mixing at. I'm pretty sure it's this. This is the studio because it was right below the water tower. This is called Studio 2. This is another gold. This used to be the film mixing studio.
Does Scientology maintain that water tower? Like, is that their property?
Yeah, this is the property's water tower. This is where all the water for the whole property comes down.
Oh.
And then there's some tennis courts here. This is all BV stuff. And you know what? This is the shooting range now, right here.
Zoom in on that. I can't even tell what the hell we're looking at there.
I think this is where you shoot from, and you shoot in this direction here. This might be like a skeet station or something like that. But this is definitely the top of the property. And then this is this, after the big flood happened in 1990, they built this thing called the Gay Beyond Channel. And this whole thing has baskets of rocks. These are baskets of rocks that go all the way down this whole thing on the property side to divert the water.
So where does Scientology own? Here, zoom out a bit. Does Scientology own the hills?
Yeah, I think they own. I don't know the exact property line, but I want to say it's like up like this far.
So the security guard station that I called a sniper's nest. Show me where approximately where that thing is.
That is.
And many people have wanted to clarify that it's not actually a sniper's nest, meaning no one has ever been sniped. But I'm like, if it's camouflaged and if it's elevated and anyway, whatever, doesn't matter. I'm actually going to do a whole video with Jackson about how that thing got created.
Yeah, he'll know because he was there.
No, I spoke to him.
Yeah. It's around here somewhere.
Okay. But does Scientology own that land?
Yeah. It's right there, I think.
Oh, zoom in. Is that where someone,
as far as I can
set the hill on fire when they took a dump?
Yeah, that was Kevin Poston. He did. Jackson will tell you all about that.
All right, real quick. Let me check the chat and then maybe we'll wrap this up because I saw some chats.
Go to my channel too. blownforgood.com, Blown for Good on YouTube. Subscribe. I need some subscribers. I just hit 14K. I'm trying to get to 15K.
Reaction similar. You've inspired me to bring the same enthusiasm. Yeah, enthusiastic kid on a field trip. That is a good description. If I stand across the road on the reservation with a land back sign, will the Scientology snipers unalive me?
No, they won't. Unalive me.
Yeah, I heard from some people. I've been getting emails from people in Hemet because I've been asking people for feedback about some of the latest drama.
Yeah.
And they've told me how much the Indians hate Scientology.
Oh yeah, no, there was no love lost
when they get the opportunity.
They would shoot at the school bus. Dude.
That's so terrible, though.
It would literally be like, what happened? Oh, the Indians shot at us today. You'd be like, what?
And they still kept the kids out there for forever.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we finished the chat. Well, we've been going for an hour and 20, dude.
Oh my goodness. Well, here, let me see if there's anything else we didn't. We did all that. That's all the RTC stuff. Oh, film lab. We never talked about the film lab. Okay, so right here, this is the manufacturing building right here. And right behind the manufacturing is the film lab. So for a long time, all we were shooting on was 35 millimeter film for the films. And then that would get processed, and then we would convert it to digital. Because Dave said there's nothing that's ever going to be better than film. So we spent all this money building this film lab to do all this work and to make it. This can make, when you make a film and you distribute it on 35 millimeter, there's like a lot of expensive and complicated processes that the film has to go through to make it look exactly perfect. And that film lab can do all of that to the utmost best quality. And by the time they finished it and got it working, we switched to digital and we stopped using film.
How many millions of dollars do you think was
easily $10-15 million?
Unbelievable.
Easily.
So they don't, so do they not use it?
They use it to like do restoration of the old films that were shot by L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah.
But they don't shoot on 35 millimeter film anymore. So there's no reason to have a film.
Incredible.
It's literally a state-of-the-art lab that now has computers sitting inside.
Wow.
Like it has, like when I say lab, I mean like drainage and pumps and tanks for this chemical and tanks for that chemical and wash bays and hoses, and it's all clean rooms, and you wear sticky mats when you walk in that suck the dirt off your feet. And now people are just in there doing computer work.
All right. Well, that is the first tour of the international base that I have ever seen. And I think that was pretty freaking awesome. I mean, it sure gives some better perspectives to some of the stories that you've heard. Even you telling me, oh, yeah, management is up on the north side of the base and gold's on the south side of the base.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, what the hell does that mean?
Well, even when, so this is the dining hall. Excuse me, I'll just tell you this real quick. So this is the dining hall right here. Well, no matter where you are on the property, this is where you have to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, there is a customary like agreement at the base that lunch doesn't start until lunch starts. So if you have a 30-minute lunch, it's from 12 to 12:30. Mm-hmm. There's no travel time built in. Mm-hmm. So you can't leave your office at 11:50 to head to the dining hall. So if you work at the Cine Castle is like all the way over here on the side of the property. It takes 15 minutes to walk from there to there. So there enters the conundrum of base life.
So you have 30 minutes for lunch, but it takes you 30 minutes to walk to lunch and back.
Yeah, but also, but we would have muster there. So you could get there at 12:15, eat, and then have muster at that
So you've
location.
got 15 minutes to eat before.
But the inn guys muster at their location. So they have to eat and get back.
And they've got to cross the street.
Well, there's a tunnel.
You can go under the road?
Yes. So that's the thing I was going to tell you. So this goes underneath the highway.
Oh, that's hot shit.
So you can ride your motorcycle or walk from here.
Wait, does it go underground or is the highway raised?
It's underground. It's a tunnel.
Okay.
But still, for the longest time while we were there, we had 15-minute meal breaks, not 30-minute meal breaks. So you have to get to the dining hall and eat in that 15 minutes. You have all of that to do. So it just makes it's just like, it's just that extra little bit of stress that you get, even though you're going to give them 1 billion years, they're going to fucking take 15 minutes out of your lunch.
You know, when Scientology puts out its propaganda videos about the int base, you know, in response to things like going clear.
Yeah. Oh, it's like Disney.
They're showing these like glossy shots of, you know, Sea Org members lacing up their running shoes to get ready for their morning run. playing some nice b-ball.
Yeah, and
some
if you were doing that, like remember before I said when we had exercise time, it was from 10:30 to 11 p.m.
Right.
If you're running around during the day, fucking playing basketball, you're gonna get your head stoved.
You're not allowed to start your morning. Hey, I'm going to go to work. I'm just going to finish my morning jog first.
She's lacing up her shoes, and there's a little bit of wispy fog in the background.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh yeah, that was
some dew.
That never happened in 15 years that I was there. I wasn't going out for a morning job in the wispy fog.
Yeah, it'd be funny if in the background of one of those promo shots, someone's getting thrown into the lake.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, you think we wrapped that up?
I think we did good. That was a good tour.
That was awesome, guys.
Don't forget to go to my channel.
Go to Blown for Good. That is Mark. Blown for Good. Let's see. I'm just going to wrap it up with my little outro here. Thanks for joining us, guys. That's probably it from the both of us for today. Talk to you guys soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right